Hello, my name is Vance Morse. I'm the Director of Learning and Development at Work Services Corporation on Hatton Road. Each year, the federal government, the Department of Defense, requires us to do a Federal Acquisition Regulation training, or FAR training, with certain policies for all of our people that work on federal contracts. And today I'll be going through several policies with you. I'm not going to read all of them to you verbatim, um, but I am going to hit the high points. You can always ask for a paper copy of any of these policies that I go over today through your supervisor or your manager, and I will be happy to send those to them if you want a copy. You will have a paper copy of the whistleblower policy, which is the second or third policy that I'll go over. We're required to give you that one in paper form. So your supervisor or manager will be giving you one of these as we talk today. So let's jump into it. The first policy that we have is privacy training, and it's those people who have Work Services Corporation email addresses. Most of our people do not have that, so they do not have to have privacy training, but those who do have WSC email addresses have to do the PI2 Protect online training each year, and also a weekly micro training. The second policy is the drug-free workplace policy, and it is a 4-page policy that outlines that we don't want you to come to work high or drunk. We also know that some people need to use prescription drugs. That needs to be in the marked container that you get from the pharmacy. If you have to bring them to work or in your purse or in your vehicle, they need to be in the actual bottle from the pharmacy. If you need an extra bottle, pharmacies will usually give that to you or just charge you $1 for an extra one. So be sure those are marked in if you bring them to work and have to use them while at work. Of course, you can use prescription drugs, but you must be able to do your job as well. Other things covered in the drug-free workplace. Know that the base police can pull you over for searches at any time. That's why we want the prescription drugs in the marked bottle. If you've been convicted of a drug-related crime, you need to report that to us immediately. Also, drug testing. Everyone has to take a drug test when they come to work here. But if you're suspected of using drugs or being drunk at work or high, you may be required to take a drug test. There are consequences if you come to work high or drunk. These are outlined in there. Could be a discipline, could be the loss of your job. The good thing about our company is that we provide assistance to those who need help. If you find yourself in a place where you are addicted to drugs or alcohol, please get with one of our representatives here in Human Services. They can help guide you to a treatment program. The ultimate responsibility to pay for that program is on the individual, but medical insurance may help with some of that depending on what plan you're on. And just because you may have that issue doesn't mean that you can't work for us again. There'll be stipulations in the future if you come back to work with us, but you will have the ability to come back and work for us. Confidentiality is very important in all these matters that we have with our Human Resources Department and Human Services Department, but that covers the drug-free workplace. Again, we don't want anybody coming to work drunk or high, selling drugs or buying drugs at work. That's just a big no-no. The second policy, the third one I guess we're going to go over, is the whistleblower policy, and it's the one that you should have a paper copy of sitting in front of you. The whistleblower policy basically says that we are trying to reduce any type of fraudulent activity within our company. That means with money, materials, anything that's the company's materials, it should be used for company use only. And that if you report that to a supervisor, there's no retaliation. The middle part of that whistleblower policy, it talks about no retaliation. We take that very seriously. You cannot lose hours. We don't want anybody giving you a hard time about it. It is confidential, so if we're doing our job right, the only way they're going to find out that you reported something on another individual is if you tell somebody. So we take that very serious on the whistleblower policy in trying to reduce the amount of corporate accounting practices, internal controls, auditing, any type of fraud is what I was trying to get at. We want to reduce fraud. So if you see something that looks out of place or somebody's not, they're taking company materials, they're misusing funds or accounting purposes, please report it to your supervisor. Next policy that we're going to talk about is the Employee Code of Ethics. And it's it's Code of Conduct and Ethics, and it's a one-page policy which can be really reduced down to work hard, be kind, and be honest. We want all of our employees to feel safe, valued, and respected here at WSC. And so if you're treating your coworker with respect and kindness, and you're trying to help them, and you're doing your job, the work culture here is going to be good. I'm going to read one bullet to you in this page. WSC employees are expected to exercise honesty and candor in all work-related activities. This includes resolving problems and issues expeditiously. In other words, if you have an issue with somebody at work, don't let it fester 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks. Try to get it handled in a very timely manner as an adult. And if you guys can't get together and do that as 2 adults, then get with your supervisor and make sure that you can come to a conclusion to that matter, and we can go on working in a positive manner. Next one is a little more serious. It's harassment, and there's several different forms of harassment that this page tells us about, but the most common one in any workplace is verbal harassment. It's where somebody is intentionally trying to be mean to somebody else. You know, in a workplace culture, there may be somebody that's just having fun with somebody else, and it's a good going back and forth. People have called me Baldy before, and it's fun, and we laugh, and it doesn't bother me at all. But if I'm visiting with another person and that person tells me, hey, you need to quit telling me that, and I don't quit doing that, and I keep after that person, it could be seen as verbal harassment. There's several other different kinds of harassment. One of the main ones that I want to talk about, and it segues into our next policy, is unwanted physical contact. And that leads to the next policy, policy 115, sexual harassment. That's very serious, and we want it reported immediately if somebody is touching you inappropriately. And this is male to female, female to male, male to male, female to female, it doesn't matter. We don't want anybody feeling uncomfortable at work. And if somebody's touching you or some type of physical contact that you're not comfortable with, please report it. But that's not the only type of sexual harassment that can occur. It could be vulgar language, a dirty joke, you showing somebody a picture on your phone that's inappropriate, that shows nudity or porn. We don't want any of that in the workplace. So please get with the supervisor if that is going on and report it so we can deal with it and put a stop to it. The last 2 policies, one is anti-terrorism training. Trust your instincts. If you see a behavior in your place of work or an activity that makes you feel uncomfortable, please report it to your supervisor, and then they can get a hold of the military police or the Office of Special Investigation, or OSI, and they can look into it. You know, it shouldn't be taken for granted that we're on a base installation that we're going to be safe. There are terrorists who want to attack, and sometimes dining facilities can be one of the places where the most people are. So if there's something that looks out of place, a package, a person, something, please report it soon, and the authorities can look into that. The last one is human trafficking, and it's not a particular policy, but we have a plan. In this plan, it says that we don't want any of our people engaging in human trafficking, of course, but also to keep your eyes and ears open, again, like terrorism or anti-terrorism. Trust your instincts. If there's something odd with an individual that's with somebody, whether you're on or off base, please report it to the authorities so we can put a stop to this cruel and inhumane practice of human trafficking. That concludes the policies. Again, I have paper copies of all these that I can email to your supervisors. If you want a particular copy of any of these policies, please let us know and we'll get it out to you. Like I said, I just hit the high points in these. I know it's not exciting information, but it's important information for you and our company. So thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day.